Alright, this is something you would want to pay attention to. What we have here is a 4L60E, a couple of 4L60E's input shafts. And this is very important. This was brought to my attention by ATSG, and I happen to have some of these shafts here, so I can pay attention to what is going on here. Well, what we have here is the newest input shaft, which has a turbine speed sensor that reads it. You can see the reluctor here, and here is the shaft that reads that as it spins. We have the old shaft, which doesn't have a reluctor on there, and we have the much older shaft, which is a 98mm torque converter, which has this little small nose here at the end. These two have the big noses, and then we have this one here. Now, why do we have this one here? Because if you look at this here, this shaft right here is a precursor to this here, and what's important to pay attention to is these grooves right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, where you put the sealing rings in. You will notice that everything is lined up back here. Everything is lined up. Everything is lined up in the front, but mostly important is everything is lined up in the back. And what you see is that these two sealing rings are directly across from each other. But when you look at this shaft, you will see that this sealing ring is up above. It's not lined up. Okay, go down. So you'll see this groove is here, while this groove is off this way. This groove is here, this groove is that way. Okay, and they're all even behind. This is important because if you use this shaft and you use the wrong stator, then you will have a problem, because the shafts that have the sealing ring grooves different have to match the stator, because the holes will be different. Okay, now we know about this. It's easy to see what you have here because you have this reluctor here. But if we move this one out of the way, okay, move this out of the way, and you put these two shafts together, you may be subject to take one of these shafts off and just put it in. Why? Because you don't see a reluctor here. Well, General Motors, I guess before they actually started to put the reluctor on, changed the ring groove in that. This would be a 06, 07 without the reluctor. Okay, so they changed the ring groove and put them on a different location, which means they dropped them a bit. The old style has them up. Now the old style is set up just like the old style on the 200mm. See, they're all the same across, and this one is not. So again, if you get one where it doesn't have the reluctor and you say, oh, I didn't identify it, you just pull it off and put it in there and put the wrong stator on, guess what? You're going to have some issues. You're going to have sealing ring issues, and you won't know what happened. And what's going to happen is you put the wrong shaft in the wrong stator. But now you have to find out what is the difference in the stators. Why will there be a difference? And how can you tell what belongs with what shaft? Okay, now we're going to get to that one next. See, make sure you pay attention. You can have two of these again that will have the same lineup, which is these two. 1, 2, 3, 4, but this has this reluctor. This doesn't. Makes no difference. Versus this one. And you can see here where this is very thin versus this have a big fat piece here. Okay. Pay attention. Now, which stator go with which shaft? Now we're about to pay attention to that. Let's get some stators. Okay, the stators. What's important with these stators is you know that if you're going to use the shaft with the 300 millimeter with this big nose here, you have to have the long stator. Okay, it can't be short. What's important now, it's how these things are going to be, because the sealing rings is what is going to be going inside of here. But which one belongs in which stator? How can you tell which one belongs? Remember, this is the one that has this big part here, and this is the old style where the sealing rings are here. So sealing rings that you see move down, this one says up. So which stator belongs to? How can you tell? This stator on this side belongs with this shaft or this shaft. Once again, the ones with the rings that have been moved down. Okay. So, how do you know? Let's do some measuring. And the only thing you have to do is really measure this top hole. Look how I have these turned. There's a hole right in there. Right in here that we're going to look at. See if I can get to it. Is that the hole? Hole is right there. Let me get a light. Just look at that. This one way at the bottom, and this is the first top hole right there. See if I can dim this a bit. Let me go get the measuring. What did I do with it? I thought I had it here. Okay, I'm going to use this here. I'm going to set this to 0. Zero this out. And put it on millimeters. Okay, so I am going to take this and move this out here like that. I'm going to put this in that hole. Show you how I do that. The hole that's there, I'm going to put this down on that hole. Gotta put this light on my head. See if I can get a little further. Okay, let me zero this out, make sure it's okay. Okay. So I got the bottom of that touching that hole and the top touching this part right here. Okay, and that will bring this to 35.28 millimeters. Okay, 35.28 millimeters. That is the one, the stator that takes this shaft. Okay, or this shaft with this big space here. Okay, so you know which one. That's 35.28. I'm gonna move this one out the way and bring the other one over, and we're going to get this that hole right there. This is the top, the one closest to the top, and we're going to take this part here, touch that hole, and let this part rest on here. Okay, so touch that hole. If you put it there, you see it's lower. Looks like it anyway, or higher. One of them. Let me see. That would be. Now, that would be 38.28. 38.28 millimeters. That stator would take this shaft. Okay, where the ceiling rings are right up here close to here. Or the old style. Like this. Okay. 38.28. 38.28. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now what you don't want to do, you don't want to mix this one that belongs with the 38.28 hole. And remember, I'm only measuring this little small hole here. You don't want to put that one with the one that belongs with the other measurement. Remember, this one, the ones right here, goes with this stator here. Now what I didn't do is measure from here to here to see what these are here. Maybe I'll do that. Alright, so this one takes the old style. So what we could do, we're going to measure these rings and zero. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this right on the bottom of this land right here, and on the top of this one right there. So the bottom, just like that. You can see how I got those measured. Okay. And what it's showing is, okay, 37.93. That goes with the one that is. Let's see what that. If I think that was. That goes with the. I think that was. See what that was here. The 38.42, you know, plus or minus, so 38. So that one again is 37. 37.94, so 37. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the other one, and we're going to get a measurement on this one, or the one with the reluctor. Okay. And we're going to put it right in the same position. And that's going to be 36.21. 36.21. The 36.21 plus or minus goes to the stator. That's 35.19 plus or minus. So now you know how to measure and which one goes what. Alright folks, I told you something about these shafts, and if you look at them, I'm going to go back over something here. When these are all lined up together like they are, I told you need to pay attention to these lands, okay? This is the old style. And I told you, see this little rim here? This is how I determined that it was the old style. Also the measurement from here to here with that caliber, okay? And then you see this one here that had this rim here, okay? And you had the reluctor here. But you saw that these two are lined up perfectly. This is how you know, and I showed you how to match the stator up and determine which one is what. However, I also said, look at this big space here, and this could probably alert you to being one where the lands have been moved back a bit. Okay, this is the old style, still a big nose, okay, big nose, but old style. Well, big nose, I mean a 300 millimeter. It takes that. That's what I mean. Okay, the older style, these rings were pushed up. That newer version that took the reluctor, and right when they about to change the reluctor, went to here. They moved them back. However, you can't look at this and determine, because here is another one that does have this big spot here. But guess what? These lands here are like the old style lands. Okay? So you can't look at this. What you should do is what I showed you. Use that caliber and measure from here to here to make sure you have the right thing. Don't go with this or this, because you get thrown off. You know, so they throwing this in here too. Okay, so here's the old style. Put this old style right beside it, and you see that it lines right up with this one here that has this big space here. Now, previously, you look at this and you think, like I said before, that it is like this. No. Measure and match it with the proper input shaft or stator, or you will have a problem.